Joshua 19:51 says, "These are the inheritances which Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun and the heads of the households of the tribes of the sons of Israel distributed by lot in Shiloh before the Lord at the doorway of the tent of meeting." So they finished dividing the land. Well, if you're joining us in reading through this 90-day reading plan, today's reading is Joshua 19:32 through 51, and I encourage you to read that passage. What role does God make in your decision-making process? How many times in a day do you stop and think about what God would have you to do? Do you do the small stuff and let God do the big stuff, or, if in the case of who defines what is big and what is small? Verse 51 of our reading today is very informative. Notice that all of the divisions of the land were done in the doorway of the tent of meeting. They didn't go under some tree or do it in somebody's house to decide. They did it in front of God. And that's how our decisions need to be made. Now, when I was in the Army and stationed in Schweinfurt, West Germany, a question came up in the chapel about whether or not we had to pray before we did anything. There were some on some side that said yes, and there were others on the other side who of course said, of course you should pray, but it's something that you're told to do, such as changing a tire, then you can certainly pray while you're changing that tire. And sometimes decisions are obvious. The example of Ananias and Sapphira in Acts chapter 5 is a great example. There were no long discussions. There was no meeting of the board of deacons. There was simply a question and answer period, and the decision was made. And obviously, God's will was carried out. Well, while we need to be careful in our decision-making process, and we obviously have to seek the Lord for what we do, when it is obvious that God's will is there, then there should be no question about if it is to be done. If we are living in a way that is searching for God's truth, His will should be made clear to us through our lives and living those lives.